Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast and our weekly series with Scott Battas from Mascoutah High School, sharing how you can create a great student-athlete leadership program at your school. We're going to be right back with Scott, but first, as always, we want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsors. So please stay with us, listen to our shout-outs, then listen to our session with Scott, then go and visit these sponsors. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. Here we go. We want to say thanks to our good friends at Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Tables and Video Boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and you can schedule a live web demo to see their products in action. I've said many times, probably one of the best purchases I ever made as an athletic director was our Sideline Interactive Indoor Score Table. Go to sidelineinteractive.com, schedule that live web demo today. We also want to say thank you to Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but when I became an athletic director, I made sure that our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches, our student athletes, even our parents just loved the tools that Huddle provided. Go to huddle.com, join the millions of users, and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys. At my school, we use surveys for just about everything, for student athletes, for coaches, and for parents. And the information that came back on these surveys was incredibly valuable. Go to athleticsurveys.com. They're going to create a custom survey that truly lets you take the pulse of everybody in your program. It's athleticsurveys.com. We also want to say thank you to Home Campus. Things like scheduling, working with rosters, results, communication, facility management. Home Campus does all of this and more, and does it better and faster than the other platforms. Did I mention athletic eligibility and clearance? That one alone is a game changer. Go to homecampus.com to get started. It's homecampus.com. We want to say thank you to Booster Hub, the #1 Booster Club software platform. If you work with your boosters, you know that volunteer scheduling and volunteer changes come with the territory. Well, with Booster Hub, nothing falls through the cracks. Everybody stays connected and engaged. The same is true for sponsorship fees and concession sales. Booster Hub does it all. Give your boosters the platform they need. Give them the platform they deserve. And that platform is Booster Hub. We also want to say thank you to Vital Signs Wall of Fame and their content creation platform, Beacon Creative. Wall of Fame's been helping schools bring their legacy to life for over a decade, but Beacon Creative takes it to a whole new level. Their talented team of writers is going to take your school's history, your coaches, your kids, and come up with compelling narratives that allow you to then post on social media. You really got to see it to believe it. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, click on Content Services. You're going to be glad you did. We also want to say thank you to Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. Ohio's program is always ranked at the top. Their alumni rave about the cohort experience and the coursework, the applicability, the connections. And while you're earning your master's degree through the Ohio program, you're also earning 11 NIAAA leadership training courses at no extra charge. Check out Ohio University and their online masters in athletic administration. And we want to say thanks to Gipper. Gipper is the modern marketing platform that allows athletic directors to brag about all the great things that your teams, your coaches, and your athletes are doing. Gipper is used and trusted by over 20,000 high school and college athletic programs. It's the #1 rated app for athletic marketing. Now, it's #1 in part because of the thousands of professionally designed templates that you can then customize with your brands, your logos, your mascot. Create, share, and schedule all of your social media in one simple platform, and that platform is Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, and for all of our sponsors, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Educational AD Podcast and our special series with Mascoutah High School Athletic Director Scott Battas. If for some reason this is the first episode you've logged into, Scott's a longtime athletic director and leader at the state and the national level. As I mentioned, he's the AD at Mascoutah High School. He's a certified master athletic administrator. And this is actually Chapter 7 of a series that he's been sharing with us on how you can create a student-athlete leadership team at your school. Again, if this is the first one you're listening to, please go back and listen to the previous ones because this is a series, and we're very excited about it. Scott, welcome back to the podcast, and what do you have for our listeners on Episode 7?
Yeah, thanks again, Jake, for having me. This has been great for me. Sometimes it's fun to go back and talk about how everything kind of got started and how we do things at our school, because I think it is a good template, and I do believe in what we do here, but I also love sharing how we do things, and hopefully it promotes good discussion, and other people can share methods of things they've done to make their place successful when it comes to culture. But I wanted to talk today kind of about the word culture and what it establishes and how it leads to a real successful leadership. I would just say leadership environment within your school. We're talking about a leadership program, but what we're ultimately trying to do is get a leadership mindset in as many kids as we possibly can within our programs. I think it's super important for kids to have sort of the mentality that our teams and our groups are player-led, even though we have a coach in charge. And the more players that we have with a leadership mindset, a team-first mentality, a group effort, work ethic, I think the results take care of themselves. So what I'll tell you is, if we go back to the roots of culture, culture within your programs is a choice before it's ever a reality. And I think that's really important. A culture doesn't just evolve from showing up and being in the same place and bringing people together. It's a choice you have to make on a daily basis to make sure that your culture is very vividly available to all of the people you come in contact with in your athletic program and your building, within the administration, the leaders in the community. Because once a culture is truly established, your community will define your athletic program by that, and hopefully carry that throughout everything they do, within your towns and your cities and all of your schools. So I think it's important to understand that you make the choice to develop a culture and that you don't stop there. I don't think culture is something that just happens. I think it's something you develop from the ground up. You've got to figure out what it is that you feel like is going to be important in your programs, establish those things from the ground up, and the results truly will speak for themselves as you grow. And I think there's no better way to do that than to establish a leadership program that instills your standards and your culture within kids on a weekly or biweekly basis. Kids are just like adults in the sense that when information is given to us, we process it. And so many times we think we hear a good idea, or, we think that we found something that really applies to us. The problem is we store that in the back of our mind, or we save it in our phone, or we write it down somewhere, and we never intentionally go back to it because we kind of forget about it. Life happens, we're busy. Athletic directors are working their 60, 70 hours a week, and we just forget about those things that we promised ourselves that we were going to do. So I think it's important to take those notes and to take those ideas and to bring them to the table. For me, the way that I continue to ingrain them in what we do is I bring them to our kids and we talk about them, and we make those the ideas that we meet about on the biweekly basis. So the whole idea here is your culture is really simply defined by the people that watch it. And I will tell you, if somebody watches your athletic program, watches any of your teams, if you're a business leader, if they watch your business for a week, what words would they use to describe your culture? Describe what they see. Because in a really well-balanced culture, there are no weeks off. We have bad days, we have things that don't go our way, but I do feel like if you pay attention to something for a sustained amount of time, you will be able to define that culture. And sometimes, unfortunately, that definition isn't what we want to hear. So you have to intentionally bring these positive ideas to your kids, to your programs, and to places that they can continue to practice the behaviors. And I think the word behavior really is key, because when you're developing a culture, you need to think behavior, not words. I mean, every single club team I've ever seen says the right things. Kids are out, yelling whatever it may be to their teammates, whatever it may be to get their teams fired up in the moment. But it's the behaviors that truly define the culture, right? So when a kid is trying to lead on the court or on the field, are other kids, are teammates actually buying in to the notion they're leading? Or are they saying, oh, that's just Jake over there, he's just yelling again, and I'm still going to do what I do? Or is your culture good enough to where Jake knows what's going on and what the standard is and what the expectation is, and he's the one that reminds everyone else that when they hear him speak, it reminds them that it's their obligation then to buy back into the culture? And I think it's so important that we find ways as leaders to give ideas to our players that they grasp. And then when one of their teammates in a good cultured program brings those things to the table, whether it's in the heat of competition or the daily grind of practice, that they are reminded to put those behaviors in practice. And I can't stress enough that culture will always be defined by behavior, not what people hear, because there are so many people in sports that say the right things. We've all been accused of that in our own right, but you truly have to believe that what you're doing matters. Your behaviors matter. The lasting impression on people will be, this is what they did. This is how they made me feel. This isn't what they said. And I think that's what's important when you're finding a group of kids to bring together, giving them titles as leaders, putting them in an environment, teaching them how to lead, is that you are refining their behavior every single day. And in turn, they're taking those refined behaviors back to their programs. It's what everybody sees when they come and watch your programs compete. And I think that's really important and a good baseline for, we're talking about the code of culture here, and that's a good way to establish it.
Boy, again, so many great things there. You hear the expression, when you come onto a school, when you arrive for a game or you get off the bus with your team, you can truly feel the culture of that particular school, of that particular program, as you see the kids, as you see the coaches. It just kind of starts with, is there trash all over the lobby or the locker rooms, just little things like that. But I think so many coaches, young coaches, they make that mistake of come up with a slogan or a T-shirt or something, and they think they've got a culture, but it really is something that is there. You can see it, you can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's just, there are so many things, and I'll talk about it in the next segment, that mentality has to be adaptable. I'm going to talk a little bit in the next segment about old school versus new school and some of the things that we tend to get away with, and maybe some of the things that we need to reevaluate. And I think that kind of connects right to this culture. Some people get stuck in their ways and refuse to change, refuse to adapt. And I think that really hinders your culture long term. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in a minute, but on the next episode, and really dive into what it takes to really grasp culture. Maybe a little bit of old combined with a little bit of new can take you a long way.
I can't wait for that. In the meantime, if one of our listeners is just all fired up and they want to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, again, go back and listen to the other segments. But what's the best way that our listeners can connect with Scott Battas?
Yeah, email is the best way. I've gotten a few emails from some of you already, which I truly appreciate. And if I don't reply right away, please understand I will get to it. I promise. I do love these conversations. But my email is Battas, so BATTASS, at msd19.org. Reach out to me anytime. Be glad to start a conversation.
Well, Scott, again, we really appreciate you taking this time during your summer vacation to share with our listeners. All the best, and we'll look forward to listening to you again next week.
Appreciate it, Jake. See you then.
For our listeners, as always, we want to say thanks and remind you that we upload the Zoom recordings of all of these interviews to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We do Scott's segment right now every week, and just about every day we still try to share stories and best practices from the world of athletics. So please come back and join us again on the next episode. of the Educational AD Podcast. Thanks again. Hey, before we go, let's give one more quick shout out to all of our great sponsors. Please go and check these sponsors out. I used them. You should be using them. Let's go and start with Hometown. Go to hometown.com, digital ticketing, fundraising, and more. Sideline Interactive, indoor score tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com. Athleticsurveys.com. If you're not using a survey to take the pulse of your stakeholders, you're really missing out. Go to athleticsurveys.com. Huddle. As a football coach, I used Huddle. As a school, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com. Ohio University, probably the #1 rated online masters in athletic administration. Check out Ohio University's online masters. Booster Hub is the #1 booster software platform out there. You can find out more at boosterhub.com. Home Campus, they do scheduling, rosters, results, eligibility, facilities, and more. They do it better and faster than the other platforms. Check out homecampus.com. Vital Signs Wall of Fame, along with Beacon Creative. Check out vitalsignswalloffame.com. And Gipper, the #1 rated marketing platform for athletic directors. Check out gipper.com. And make sure you tell these sponsors you heard about it on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time.